90% of my course sales were coming from the 10% of song tutorials. I saw those people come through and I was like, who are these people? I was just really excited and interested. I looked each of them up. Confidence that you're taking the right action is so important for motivation. I didn't have the motivation to actually build out an online course, which was a lot of work. I didn't have that until I had an audience and I had like a real felt sense of people want this. And if I make it, people are here and they will buy it. Once I had that excitement, it was still a lot of work, but I was excited doing the work. I've had a lot of motivation. He was looking at that and he was just like, this email that you send to people who bought your course like a month later has like an 85% open rate. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, these people love you. Like they want to hear from you and they are interested in more from you.
Hello and welcome to the Art of Selling Online Courses. We are here to share winning strategies and secret hacks from top performers in the online course industry. My name's John Ainsworth. Today's guest is Nathan Terepka. Now, Nate is a music educator and the founder of Piano with Nate, which is a YouTube channel and an online course business. It's dedicated to teaching adults how to play piano accompaniment using a chord-based approach. Now, before launching Piano with Nate and relocating out to Portland in Oregon in 2020, Nate spent a decade teaching private piano and guitar lessons to kids in Brooklyn in New York. And during this time, he also founded Echo City Music Lab, which is a brick-and-mortar music school that was short-lived, unfortunately, due to COVID. Now, Nate believes that learning piano should be joyful and personal. His teaching helps adults to reconnect with music by playing songs they love without the pressure or perfectionism that came with childhood lessons. Nate, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's really good to be here.
So tell us a little bit more about like what's the approach that you're taking when you're teaching piano? How is it different to what anybody else is doing?
So speaking about the YouTube channel now, Piano with Nate, because I taught in a lot of different ways, including a lot of more traditional ways when I was teaching kids. But I teach with a chord-based approach. Do you play any music?
I play bass, so there's no chords.
Okay, but if you're playing rock music on bass, you're probably following a chord-based approach.
I'm following the chords, yeah.
So you're just mostly playing the roots of the chords, yeah. So I teach piano the way that a lot of casual players will learn acoustic guitar or something, where you learn to play a G chord or a D chord, and then maybe you learn a Bob Dylan song and it's just a couple of chords and you learn a strumming pattern, so you can pick up songs and play and sing along. So you're generally accompanying your voice. A lot of people are familiar with that on guitar, but piano tends to have a more sort of traditional lens that a lot of people view it through in terms of what they were exposed to in childhood lessons. And on my YouTube channel, I teach a chord-based approach where you learn the chords and then you can play Beatles songs, or a lot of my audience is older adults, retired folks who are picking up piano again as a hobby. And so my method makes that kind of casual playing accompaniment to sing your favorite pop and rock songs really easy, and I sidestep traditional notation entirely.
Oh, okay, interesting. I had a really interesting experience. I got a friend who plays piano. He also plays ukulele and is learning. Do you know what the U bass is?
No.
So it's a acoustic bass, and it has got massive thick strings without that much tension to them, and it looks
Are they like rubbery?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And it looks kind of like a ukulele and kind of like a bass.
I have played one of those in a guitar store once. They're awesome.
It was a very confusing experience. I tried playing a Muse song on it and I was like, these strings take so long to get back to where they started that I can't actually play fast enough to play,
interesting.
to play this.
Yeah.
I'm sure I could get the hang of it. But like, anyway, I was playing with this guy, right? And so he's used to playing songs on the piano, and he would play in some, he kind of had learnt to play the bass element with his left hand and then the melody with his right hand.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And so then I was playing bass with him, and I was like, well, we realized he and I are both basically playing the same part. So he's then he's trying to learn, okay, what's the other part that I can play with my left hand? And I'm like, this just blew my mind, the idea of like playing two different bits with the different hands and what have you.
Yeah,
So
that is coordinating two hands doing separate things is definitely a challenge for people on
I
piano.
was like, this is too much. It's too much for my brain, Robbie. You just need to, you crack on and do your thing. I'm just going to play the bass, right? Okay.
Mhm.
But tell me about that. One of the things you mentioned there was that a lot of your audience is people who are retired. And there's a lot of people in the course business where that is true. And it's something we don't talk about all that often, actually. A lot of people teaching music, that's really common. Like
Yes.
I had a friend who was teaching guitar and he was teaching blues guitar, I think. Yeah, blues on electric guitar. And he said when you looked at his testimonial videos, it was like it was all the same guy. They all had grey ponytails with receding hairline and a grey goatee. And it's like they're all that kind of a fit. And I got a friend who's teaching banjo, and most of his audience is retired people as well. So it's like clearly that is an audience where like they want to learn music and learn languages and kind of start all these kind of hobbies. How long did it take you to find out that was the case?
Yeah, it took me a year or two. So when I started the YouTube channel, it was a whim during COVID, like lockdown. I had started that music school, and I was still thinking of that as my main business, that I was going to either make it through the pandemic or turn it into more of a virtual thing. And that was mostly teenagers and preteens. I was doing a lot of Billie Eilish songs and Taylor Swift songs with them. And when I started the YouTube channel, I just thought, well, maybe if I put some piano tutorials on YouTube, something will happen. I didn't really have a plan. I just had this little seedling of an idea that it could become something cool. And so I started my first probably year's worth of tutorials were of contemporary songs that were popular with like teenagers. And at one point I did a David Bowie song. I did Space Oddity. And I did a Beatles song. I think I did maybe Penny Lane. Those songs I had done with some kids too. They had some popularity with teenagers. So I was still kind of thinking along those lines. But those videos took off a little bit more than the others, which I found interesting because I thought, the biggest pop songs in the world are going to get the most views. They also had the most competition for them. But and I just started seeing comments that were just of a different tone and were clearly coming from older folks that were excited about learning these songs. Fast forward, it wasn't until like 2 years in, I had already started to lean into that a little bit, but I made my first course and started selling the course. Everybody on my email list, I know what song they found me on YouTube through, because if they download the cheat sheet for that song, they're tagged in my system. So what I noticed as soon as I started selling courses was that 90% of my course sales were coming from the 10% of song tutorials that were like the Beatles or David Bowie, as opposed to all these other pop songs. And it made sense to me, of course. And then I think I just started to lean into that more. And then it was just a self-fulfilling thing that those were the types of people that were finding me. Those were the types of people that were commenting and requesting songs. And at this point, that's my audience primarily.
What made you think to check where those course sales had come from? Was that something that was surfaced automatically and you just spotted it? Or did you think, right, let me go back and analyze this and figure out who are these people who are buying the course?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. When I first published my course, this was 2022, it was such a novel thing to me to have worked on this course and then to be making course sales. Like the first, notification that comes through from Stripe, it was such an adrenaline rush. And I didn't sell a ton. I did a really heavily discounted launch, and I probably sold over the course of that launch, like 2 days, I probably sold 10 of them. After that, it was a trickle of like maybe once or twice a month for a while. But so there wasn't a whole lot of people who bought, but I saw those people come through and I was like, who are these people? It was just really really excited and interested. And so I think I looked each of them up on Active Campaign just to be like, what, how did these people find me? And I think I just naturally noticed that, oh, they're all people that have done my one Beatles tutorial and not my, 5 Billie Eilish tutorials.
If you're listening to this and you run a music course business and you don't know how old your audience is, I would seriously consider doing a survey or looking at some of the data or messaging with some of them or talking to people who bought the course, or if you haven't sold a course, if you're not started creating courses yet and you just got an audience on YouTube, though, find some way of figuring this out, because this is a recurring theme that I've been noticing a lot, and I think it's worth trying to figure out and kind of lean into. I love that you figured that out, because it wasn't guaranteed at that point that you would figure that out. Like, it's not like everybody would think, oh, let me go and do an analysis of like who it is. But you happen to see it by just, oh my fucking God, I made some course sales. This is cool. Who are these people? And
Yeah.
Love that. Okay. So now that you've been running the YouTube channel for about 5 years, where are you at in terms of size of that? How many subscribers you got? How many views do you get a month?
Yeah, so I am at like 118,000 now.
Mm-hmm.
I hit that 100,000 milestone back in July. And I get...
Congratulations.
Thank you. I get a little less than 500,000 views a month. And
that's nice, though, isn't it? That's a lot more than, because there's the relationship between number of subscribers and number of views is very much not.
Yeah.
What's the right
coupled?
Yeah. Like it doesn't. If one goes up, doesn't mean the other one goes up. If you look between different channels, some people will have 1 million subscribers or 2 million subscribers and be getting like 200,000 views a month, and others will have, like like 100 and something thousand subscribers and then nearly 500,000 views a month. And it's not even due to like the number of videos that people are making. Just like sometimes people haven't done as much work on it in a long time. Sometimes those subscribers have built up over years, and not all of them actually pay attention anymore to the channel.
Right. I think that subscriber count is sort of a vanity metric these days.
Yeah.
And at some point, YouTube started showing people what the algorithm knew they wanted rather than what they thought they wanted based on what they subscribed to.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can have hardly any subscribers and have a video that's performing really well, and YouTube will just push it out to everyone. Or you can have, 10 million subscribers and make a dud, and YouTube won't show it to people.
What's your kind of frequency now? How often are you doing a new video?
I've been doing a song tutorial every other week for the last couple of months. Which was about my frequency when I started, and then about 2 years in, I hired a VA, virtual assistant video editor. And actually, for a minute, I was doing 2 a week. And then my pace for the last year or 2 has been 1 a week. And these are song tutorials. So sometimes I'll do like a general lesson. Sometimes I'll do a bigger project, 7 mistakes self-taught beginners make or something like that. Mm-hmm. But I have sort of a formula for, okay, I'm going to learn a song this week. I'm going to make a, chart for it, and I'm going to teach it. And, there's sort of like a template for the way the video works with the playthrough at the end. My editor knows how to kind of crank them out. My pace has been 1 of those a week. I have slowed down slightly because I think 2 reasons. One is, as the channel's grown, I've taken each video more seriously. Mm-hmm. Just I feel like there's a bigger audience, because there is, and I do a performance at the end. I play and sing through the song, and I think I scrutinize myself more. Not in a bad way, but I care a little bit more about getting it right. Mm-hmm. And so it kind of crept up on me, but I realized these take me longer now.
Right.
I can't. When I look back on 2023 or whatever, when I was doing 2 a week, I was like, I don't think I could do that now. Just based on the care I put into each one. So there's that, and then also I've had these big projects with trying to develop courses and work on other things in my business. And the amount of time one tutorial a week was taking. I just felt like I was kind of on a treadmill, keeping up with that and having that be really high quality. And I was having trouble getting ahead on the bigger picture business growth things.
Yeah, that makes sense. Have you ever tried doing like bundles of past song tutorials as a new video? Like, here's 10 spooky Halloween ones or whatever, like, but take all the ones you've done from previous years and put them together. I'm not a YouTube expert. I was just talking to somebody in the music space who had done this recently, who was teaching an instrument, and someone suggested it to him and he tried it and it seemed to work pretty well. And I was like, well, that's fucking clever because you've already recorded all of those.
Right.
And then you get to make a new video out of it.
So as opposed to putting them in a playlist or something, like taking the raw videos and editing them together in a new video
so
to
cut the
upload.
intros out, cut the outros out, put them all, just do one big intro or one intro for the whole lot and then put 5 together or something.
I have not done that. That's interesting. I'd be curious to see the example that you're talking about. I wonder if... I wonder how long each of those videos originally was. Like, I think if I was doing shorter, like,
because yours are
quick to learn.
Each one is long.
Each one is like a half hour or between 20 and 30 minutes. So I wonder if that would be
that would be a long video. Yeah,
I did do one video that I conceived of kind of in a way that makes it like with what you're talking about. That was like 5 songs that use the same 4 chords. And it was positioned at like kind of total beginners. It was just really easy. I taught the 4 chords at the beginning, and then there was just like 5 sections for each song that utilized those chords. That video has done quite well. That's one of my best performing videos.
That's interesting. And, that's proper beginner level aimed then, isn't it? To go like, you can get, if you learn these 4, you can get all of this, much more leverage. You can now learn a bunch of songs. Yeah. Interesting. What kind of level do you find your audience is at? Are you attracting a lot of people that are complete beginners, or is it people who've already been playing a little while and but they don't like the style and they want to try your stile, or is it a total mix?
It's mostly people that have played a bit. So I'd say the level that I arrange my songs at, and I usually give options within a video for sort of, you can make it a little bit simpler if you need, but it's sort of like late beginner, early intermediate. It's hard to define this stuff, but it's typically someone who already, maybe they took piano lessons as a kid and then haven't played in many years, but now they've started learning songs again and they're kind of using a chord-based approach. It's people whose fingers already sort of know their ways around the keys on a bit. They've played a bit and they know how to find chords, and so they are looking up. They're finding me through these song tutorials they're looking up. Yeah.
They're already looking for a song name plus chords or something like this.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of variation within that. And, it does make it hard to design courses because, sometimes I think it would be easier if I was just targeting total beginners and the promise of the course was just learn piano. You've never played piano before. We're going to start at the beginning. Here's the method. So I've had to sort of position my courses to help these people be like, okay, so you already know chords. But you're kind of stuck playing simple rhythms, and we're going to teach you how to get these different tricks and ways to embellish them into your muscle memory. And that has felt like sort of the most helpful thing. A helpful next step for the kinds of people that are doing these piano tutorial videos. But it has been a bit challenging where, some people enter the course and they're like, oh, I already know a lot of this stuff. And some people are like, this is too fast for me. So that's still a bit of a puzzle that I'm trying to sort out in terms of, I have like a beginner's crash course that does start from the beginning. And then trying to get the tone right for... Because I want to have, foundational technique and stuff at the beginning of my main course, just because it is a hole that a lot of people have, even if they think they're more advanced. It's actually something really foundational holding them back. And so it's like, how do I present that material to them? Because it might benefit them without them being like, oh, like I've been playing for a long time. This is for total beginners. That's one of my biggest challenges, is trying to pin down the level of these people.
Interesting. Going back to kind of the combination between, or the point between the YouTube audience and then starting to actually make sales, you mentioned something that I think is really important, that you do a cheat sheet for each of these videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in the music space, this is one of the, it's like, this is the system. This is the way to do it
Yeah.
in order to get a good number of people onto your email list. If you're teaching a song, you then have the cheat sheet that goes with it. Can you describe what yours looks like for one of these songs that you're teaching?
Yeah, it'll be it'll have lyrics to the song, and it'll have the chords.
Mm-hmm.
And so it makes it much easier for people to follow along.
And do you know what kind of percentage of people who view a video will then opt into that?
I don't know the number. I would guess that a large percentage of the people who really use the video to learn a song will get it, because it makes it much easier. And
Yeah.
I really, encourage them to use it. When I don't know about percentage of views, I don't really have a sense of how many people just watch part of my videos, or like what percentage of the view count represents someone who really took the time and used the video to learn a song, rather than just kind of clicking around on YouTube. But
Yeah. I understand what you mean. Yeah. What I found in terms of where we have tracked this in the music space, it's been between about 2 and 4% of people of views of the video, which then will convert to downloads. Now, somebody might have viewed the video multiple times. Somebody will only have seen the first 10 seconds, whatever. But that's kind of the general percentage, which is high, which is really solid. If you look at general opt-in rates from YouTube to an email list in other spaces where you don't have such a perfect fit between what's in the video and why you should download this guide, it can tend to be more like kind of 1% if they're doing a decent job, maybe 2%. And in the music space, you can get like 2 to kind of 4%, which is great. You get a very high opt-in rate, bigger email list.
Yeah, that would be really easy to find out. I have never thought to look at that metric, but yeah.
What's the You recently started working with Josip, who, as listeners of the podcast will know, who's our head of funnel strategy. He's been on the podcast lots of times before. Absolute funnel wizard. What's some of the stuff that you've been planning out with him that you're going to make changes to in your business?
Yeah, so first order of business is a tripwire offer, which I am working on right now. I'm hoping to just make that happen in the next couple weeks, because that was the biggest thing that it just never occurred to me. and once we kind of laid it out, it's like, wow, I'm leaving a lot of money on the table. Or once I do this, it'll probably generate just fair amount of extra money. So then it's just like, okay, let's make it happen.
For anyone listening who doesn't know what a tripwire is, could you talk them through what that is that you're working on?
So that would be an offer after someone that gets presented immediately after someone opts in for a free thing.
Yeah.
So I have these, 200 something different individual forms that go with different videos of mine that are cheat sheets for the videos. And and that's how I've been collecting email addresses. You click on the link for the chords and lyrics chart, or for the cheat sheet for the music theory video, and then you enter your email address and it sends you a link to your email. And the way I've had it is just once you submit, it just goes to a page that says, thank you, blah, blah, blah. It may take a minute or two to arrive. And then I follow up with an email sequence once, over the following weeks. But so now we're going to have that page redirect to an offer immediately, which, now that we are planning it, it's like, man, why didn't I think of that? there's thousands of people every month that are interacting with me in this way. And so we're going to do a $27 PDF vault, because I think a pain point for the people who learn a lot of stuff with me and watch a lot of my videos is individually requesting these resources through these sheets. So it'll be, you pay once $27, and you just get access to this Dropbox folder with all these PDFs in it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
One of our best performing client tripwires was almost exactly the same as that. It was in the spirituality space. If you downloaded 5 free guided meditations, which was their free lead magnet, then the next page you were offered their meditation vault, where you would get every guided meditation they'd ever recorded, which to start out was 27 of them for $27. But now it's like, 43 for 20. But it's like, okay, it doesn't have to be the same number of things as the same number of dollars. And
Yeah.
it converted so well because the fit was so perfect between the thing that they have requested for free and the thing that you're offering that's paid. You know that people who download this free thing are interested in that type of thing, and now you're offering them just lots more of them for a very small amount of money. So
Right. Yeah.
it was that perfect fit meant it is part of the reason it converted really well. So that's a good chance that'll work really well for you.
Yeah, and then also that allows us to have a bump offer on the checkout for that PDF vault that'll be for my main piano course with a discount. And it'll probably be the same discount that I typically offer automatically through like a deadline funnels type thing. A couple weeks later in the email sequence if they've just subscribed to my email through getting this chart. But yeah, I think presenting that offer to them at the moment that they're the most excited about learning piano, when they've just taken this action to download the resources for a song that they're sitting down to learn. Yeah, I'm excited to implement it and see how it goes.
Nice. So if you're listening to this and you're like, man, I want to work on one of these tripwire funnels, how does this all work? I've recorded a few podcast episodes about this with Josip. So episode 102, exploring tripwire funnels, and then episode 132, how to optimize your tripwire funnel, that one's from April 2024. And those two are going to take you through everything you need to know, or certainly to get started with understanding how this tripwire funnel works, exactly where it's going to go, what page is going to look like, how to tweak it, etc., etc. If you want to get a tripwire funnel in place, I would thoroughly recommend it. And to give you an idea of the kind of conversion rates that you tend to see on these tripwire funnels, it's really high. So it's about 3 to maybe 10% of people who opt in for the free thing will then buy the tripwire. And obviously the price is low. We're talking about $27. So the amount of money per customer is not massive, but that's increased quite a lot by having, like you're saying, you're going to set up an order bump and an upsell and having that kind of stuff in place. And it's also means that you're going to get more money long term, because if someone buys something from you and they have a good experience, they're way more likely to buy from you in future. We found that buyers are about 20 times more likely to buy again than non-buyers are to buy something in the first place in any given promotion, which is like, there's massive difference between the two.
Yeah, and Josip had the idea to, when you buy the PDF vault, my inclination probably would have just been like they get an email with the link to the vault. But he suggested, no, it should actually be a product that is part of your members area that you log in, and you log in, and I'm right now working on like a logo for it, and it appears as if it's a course, and then you click on it, you get the link, and I'll probably make a video talking about how to get the most of it or something. But that brings them into my world. They'll, if they just get the PDF vault, they will have a membership, a login, and if they're in the member area, there's a little promotion of here's these other courses you could add from Piano with Nate, and so. Yeah, I'm excited.
Nice. All right, cool. So that's top on your list. What else have you got in your plan to work on now? So
the other immediate order of business is just executing on Black Friday. The starting to work with Josip was well timed. And so I've been working on another product, a smaller product that is a piano pattern toolbox that is a collection of 40-something common piano accompaniment rhythm styles that go with different genres or different time signatures or tempos, and it's all organized, and each one has a little short lesson video with a chart and also links to what song tutorials on YouTube I've done that use that rhythm. So I've been developing that, and I'm sort of crunching to finish that in time for Black Friday, and then Josip is helping me with the email promotion strategy and doing a Cyber Monday and bundling it in different ways with my other courses, and also just offering it standalone to people who are already members of my main course. So my Black Friday plan is a lot more elaborate this year than it has been in past years, and that is in large part because of Josep's guidance. So right now we're just sort of grinding on those two things, getting the tripwire out as soon as possible, and then trying to have a great Black Friday. Then longer term, we've got some sort of bigger projects. For a long time, I've been designing a reshoot, and like my main course, Piano Chord Breakthroughs, I made it in 2022. I've learned a lot since then. My production has gotten much better. I've gotten so much feedback. In general, people really love it, but I hear certain types of negative feedback that like line up with one another enough that I'm like, okay, there are these kind of issues with the program, or things that I can make better.
Yeah.
And so that's been there's a overhaul that I want to make happen, and it still remains to be seen, like if I'm going to break it into multiple products or how exactly I'm going to position it. And I think Josep's starting to help me think outside my own box with it a little bit. And I think once we get past Black Friday, thinking about my overall strategy with my suite of course products is going to be on the table. And I think we'll probably play around with a membership option, because right now I sell my courses as just one-time purchase, lifetime access.
Yeah.
But as I have more products, I think maybe some sort of a membership would make sense. The other thing we are talking about, and I got excited about this, I think listening to one of your podcasts, you were talking, it might have been about a musician you were speaking of, who did some sort of high ticket coaching thing. That was essentially private lessons. But I burnt out on private lessons. That's what I did that for many years. And then even after I had started the YouTube channel, I was still teaching virtually all the kids that were in my music school. And I was doing like 30 or 40 Zoom lessons a week. And I just burnt out, got to a point where it felt like I was losing money teaching lessons, because my YouTube channel was starting to do really well. And I felt like if I didn't have to teach 5 kids today and like prep their lessons, I could just have this whole day to work on my YouTube business, and that would probably make me more money. And so, yeah, but I do miss the one-on-one interaction. And I think given my audience and reputation now through YouTube, I could charge quite a bit more than I ever did and position it differently. And I think there's people that would really, I get a lot of emails from people that are like, could you do this song? Could I like commission you to do a custom tutorial for this song? And it's like, I can't help all these people. But I think there are some people out there that really have learned a lot of songs with me, and would be happy to, pay enough to make it worth my time to have that, to do that one-on-one, super personalized lesson experience. And I do miss it a little bit. So
yeah, my experience in terms of the pricing that we have seen people be able to charge in the music space with more bespoke, like the one-to-one lessons, plus when you also include like access to all of your courses, that you've, access to everything that we've got, plus the one-on-one stuff, has been about $10,000 a year. Now, some people are managing to do that without it being the course creator, the founder, who's actually doing the coaching. They're then hiring coaches and what have you as well. That's not what you're talking about, but that is a thing that is possible if you've got, here's the system, and here is a person who is an expert in my system and is also going to be teaching you. Like Scott's bass lessons. Let me find the episode with Scott. It's from January 4th last year, building a $5 million music education business. Scott talked about that in that episode.
Yeah. When you say $10,000 a year, is that for weekly lessons, or?
I think it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably close to 200 a lesson or so.
Yeah, that kind of ballpark, right? 250-ish. And I've seen that a number of times, that kind of pricing. So I've seen it with teaching musicality with Musical U. Again, that's not the founder who is doing the coaching there. Seen it with Jack from Banjo Skills.
I think that's who you were speaking about on the podcast I listened to.
Yeah. He's a friend who I kind of I chat with quite a bit about kind of what he's up to, and so I kind of help him a little bit with some of what he's working on. He did this recently, 6 months for $5,000, and actually did an episode with him before he started doing that coaching. Was April 17th, 2025. The funnel that makes this banjo player $5,000 a month. If anyone wants to go check that out, but I've talked about it a few times on the podcast recently. Yeah, and he basically took that pricing from. I told him this is what other people are charging. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
If they're doing 10 grand for a year, I'll do 5 grand for 6 months and see.
Sure.
And it worked great. It made him a lot of extra revenue. Obviously, there is then, it's not a scalable thing. You've got to then do that yourself. So you've got to limit your time to like what you're actually happy with doing,
Yeah. I'm a little hesitant to jump back into the fray of those one-on-one lessons. But just in terms of my time and energy. But yeah, I'm really definitely down to explore it because I do miss the one-on-one connection. And I learn a lot in private lessons with people, which I've completely stopped doing the last year or so.
And
but
there
I
are
do,
other ways to... Sorry, carry on.
Well, I was just going to say, I learn, in the actual flow state of a lesson and you're having interaction with just a person and vibing and explaining things in the moment, I'll often find that I end up explaining some musical idea or articulating it in some way that I never have before. And I'm like, ooh, that's really good. I can now use this for my, video content.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely some real value in continuing that one-on-one connection. Yeah, it really just comes down to, can I charge a price that feels good for me in terms of the amount of my energy it takes away from building the business in other ways. Yeah.
And there are other ways of packaging it. Like you could say, well, I'm going to do group coaching sessions, or I'm going to do one-on-one, but it's only for this short period of time. It's going to be a 6-week intensive, or I'm going to do a weekend intensive, or like a one-day thing that people can come and attend. There's a bunch of ways you can package it. It has to fit. It has to work for you, and it has to work for the customer.
Yeah.
But that it's not just a one-on-one lessons. Is just kind of do that individually with each person. It could be like, here's the syllabus. We're going to work through this course together, and you're going to go through and you take the lessons, and then we're going to work on this stuff together, or we're going to work on it in a group, or whatever.
Yeah.
As long as people are willing to pay for it and you're happy to do it, then it's like that's it, right? What's the experience been like? Could you talk everybody through, like, you did an audit first of all, right, before you started working with Josip on the coaching?
Yeah.
Could you talk everybody through that? Because I know, like, for a lot of people who are listening, an audit would actually make a lot of sense. But I don't know if I've done an amazing job on this podcast of like explaining what it is and how it works and what have you. I wonder if you could explain, why did you sign up for that, and then what was actually included?
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll start by saying maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I hit this point with my business where I felt really overwhelmed. And I was just thinking, I feel like I'm at this moment where I've sort of plateaued. It's growing, but there's this like metamorphosis that needs to happen in my business. And I can see different pieces to that, maybe a membership. I know I need to redo these courses, make them better, so I'm more confident, spreading the word about them. And maybe other smaller products, maybe I need to redo the copy on my landing page. Maybe my funnel's not converting like it could, like all these things. And I was just like feeling overwhelmed about the order of operations. And I actually put like a note like in my calendar of just like I have a to-do list of like, someday, or things that aren't pressing this week, but things that I want to work towards. And I said a business audit. And I was and I remember I have a mastermind group that we meet every other week to talk about business. But sometimes I feel like I was so in the weeds with the details of my business that I couldn't catch these people up to understand my business well enough, like just meeting every other week, that I just felt like the details I was thinking about was just too much for casual conversation. And so I was thinking it would be so great if I had someone who is really experienced that could just really, really get to know my business the way I do, and just tell me what to do. So I had been sort of ruminating on that, and I was getting close, I think, to taking action. I'm in the SPI community. And I was thinking, I'm going to make a post like, are there people that do like audits of businesses, or like some sort of coach that would be, but then I just happened to hear about data-driven marketing, and decided to check it out. And long story short, it has been exactly what I was looking for. Like the audit was, we did, 2 different hour-long phone calls, I believe, with some, just sharing lots of metrics, talking through my whole funnel and everything with Josip, and giving him access to, my course analytics, my active campaign with all the funnel stuff. And then he gave me a homework assignment to survey my audience, which was a really cool experience. I got like 3,000 responses.
Whoa.
And and to incentivize people doing the survey was actually, I sort of tested and validated the PDF vault idea. Said, if you do the survey, you'll get access to this PDF vault. And people were really excited about that.
Right.
But then I also, once they finished the survey, I said, by the way, here's also a promo code for like half off my main piano course. And just by doing the survey, I got a bunch of awesome insights about my audience, but I also sold a bunch of courses, and it paid for the audit. It more than paid for the audit. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it helped Josip kind of present a game plan to me. And I think one of the biggest, it was a really simple insight that was pretty powerful for me, was he looked at the follow-up sequence I had for people who bought my main course, Piano Chord Breakthroughs, which is like my sort of flagship technique course. And I have this other course, Keys to Chord Progressions, that is more just theory, like bigger picture keys and scales, and how chord progressions are constructed. And I like to bundle it with Piano Chord Breakthroughs. I like it when people get both, and I offer a bump offer. If you're buying like a course individually, I encourage people to get both. But I have an automation that maybe 3 weeks after someone buys Piano Chord Breakthroughs, if they didn't also bundle it with Keys to Chord Progressions, there's an email that says, hey, like, how are you enjoying Piano Chord Breakthroughs? I have this other course that can be, synergistic with it. If you're interested, here's a promo code to get a discount on it. Like, as a Piano Chord Breakthrough student, you can get a discount on this. So he was looking at that, and he was just like, this email that you send to people who bought your course like a month later has like a 85% open rate. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, these people love you. Like they want to hear from you, and they are interested in more from you.
Yeah.
And I think that the realization was, what's holding my business back right now is I don't have enough to offer to these people.
Yeah.
I just have these 2 courses, mainly just this one course that's just a one-time purchase. But the people that really like learning from me are, some of them are hungry for more, and I'm not giving it to them. And so thinking about, the high ticket coaching, different products, maybe some kind of membership. It's still sort of a testing and brainstorming of, what these things could be. But it was really eye-opening and motivating to be like, there's a lot of room here for me to develop more ways to, support these people in learning piano, and they want it.
Yeah.
So that was, I think, one of the biggest insights from the audit.
Nice.
But yeah, I think confidence that you're taking the right action is so important for motivation. because I didn't have the motivation to actually build out an online course, which was a lot of work. I didn't have that until I had an audience, and I had like a real felt sense of people want this. And if I make it, the people are here and they will buy it and, learn. And because when I was just starting YouTube, I had a mentor, and he was like, you should make a piano course. Like, people are having a lot of success with courses. And I was just dipping my toes into YouTube. I hadn't really built an audience yet. And I just thought, like, that sounds like so much work. And the thought of it overwhelmed me. I don't think I was even thinking, what if nobody buys? But I think, that was sort of the driving fear in me, just saying, that sounds like such a lot of work. And then a year and a half later, I had, maybe at that point I had 5,000 or 10,000 subscribers, maybe even less. But I was seeing this audience forming, and it just totally flipped to where I just felt like I have to make this course. And once I had that excitement that like these people are here, it was still a lot of work, but I was excited doing the work. Had a lot of motivation. Yeah. So I think that's why I generally recommend people just build your audience first by providing a bunch of value and, making content. And then the what products you should make, as well as the motivation to make them, I think will emerge naturally.
Nice. That's awesome, man. Well, thank you again so much for coming on.
Yeah.
I love your story. This is fantastic. It's another COVID success story, which we do hear a decent number of them on this podcast. If anyone wants to go check out your channel, learn more about you, where should they go?
You can, there's pianowithnate.com if you want to check out the YouTube channel. You can just search Piano with Nate on YouTube, and it's pretty easy to find.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing. As always, everybody, thank you so much for listening. I mentioned a few podcast episodes during this. I got one more I'm going to plug for you, which is Nate mentioned about Black Friday being on his list. And we did an episode specifically about Black Friday. September 25th, 2025. It says, watch this before planning Black Friday 2025. Now, in that episode, it takes you through everything that you need to, all the stuff you need to plan out for Black Friday. I'm just realizing I'm recording this like shit. What if this episode goes out after Black Friday? That might actually happen. If it doesn't, if this comes out in time and you hear this, I have got a free guide about how to plan out your Black Friday, where I've detailed everything from in that episode and everything, and a number of other things to try and make it simpler. If you want that, drop me an email, john@datadrivenmarketing.co. If this comes out after Black Friday this year, then you can get it for next year.
There's always next year.
Nate, thanks again for coming on. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for having me.